Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our last Wednesday walkabout before my sabbatical begins on August 1st. Just in time too, because boy has it gotten hot. The temperatures are hovering around 100 now. The humidity is also hovering around 300%, I think. And I've got just a few things that I want to be working on in the cool of the mornings and in the evenings, both before and during my sabbatical. So I thought I would share some of those things with you before I, like you, go into the air conditioning to escape the heat. So a little bit of mulching, lots of deadheading, a little bit of rearranging, and basically just some good practices during the heat of the summer. So what do you say, Stuart?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay guys, stay tuned till the end of the video because we have a little surprise for Linda that we want you to be a part of. She's outside. I'm getting everything set up, so make sure you stay tuned.
And we'll start out with my first gardening tip. And one of the frustrations I think we gardeners have when we mulch or when we're using bags of soil or anything along those lines is the amount of product that gets stuck in the corners.
Oh, yeah.
And this way, if you slit it down the middle and then open it up like that, it prevents some of that frustration. So you can really get all of the remnants of what you've got out of the corners of your product bag. You can see here one of my prized black tubs that I've been doing lots of deadheading, and I've got lots more to do. And since it's gotten hot, I have pretty much reserved most of that deadheading for the cool of the evening. So I will wait sometimes until 7:30 before I come out. Sometimes if I'm inside working at the computer or something and I just really get restless, then I'll come out here and just take one shrub, for example, maybe one butterfly candy or something, and I will deadhead just it, because deadheading now has to come pretty fast and furious because it's gotten so hot and all of the flowers tend to expire in the heat of the day. Now, earlier in the season, I put out pretty much mulch, but now there are some areas because I have replanted some stuff or mulch has gotten washed away, and so I'm just replenishing that. Look at how these little darling...
Oh, look at them.
Yes, yes, these were just pieces that I pinched off and I just stuck in the ground. I've kept them watered, and look, they're turning into little plants, which will probably be maybe relocated or something. So we'll give them a little bit of mulch too to hold in that moisture.
Every elementary school in the world should have that shown to every kid.
Well, yeah, and maybe
that you can stick it in the ground.
Yes,
and it just works.
yes, and maybe one of the things I want to do is start working with the elementary school nearby. They've approached me about it.
Awesome.
And I haven't followed up. It has been summer after all. So some tutorials like that for young children, I think, is always a good thing. And if all else fails, yeah, you can just kind of toss it and I can go back later.
Do one more.
Yeah, do one more. Oh, here. Here, I got one more. There we go. Yeah. And just kind of spread it around. So basically, that's what I can do. I could also use a small rake to reposition it. But right now, I find, let me put these someplace where I'll remember them. I find that this just tossing works pretty well. Now, the other thing I like about this mulch, which I've told you guys ad nauseum, it's because, see, it's so fine. It's got such good texture to it that even if I get it on the plants or whatever, it tends to fall through the stems and the foliage to make it to the ground. So I can just toss, and then later I can come back with a small rake or something, and I can kind of rake it all to exactly where I want it to be. Now I don't have tons of mulching to do, just little bits, but I'm doing this not only because of the heat, but also because one of the most obnoxious weather conditions there is when it is very, very hot like it is right now, and it's also very windy.
Yeah.
And because of that, the soil dries out so much more quickly. And anything we can do to prevent evaporation of all of that moisture from the soil, the better. So I'll just kind of go like that through my front beds, see what areas are a little bit mulch deprived, and I'll come in there and do that. And then I'll also do some trimming, some deadheading, and make notes in my garden journal about what I want to do once it cools in the fall. Now let me see, I came over here to get some stakes from the backyard. And I got very pleasantly interrupted.
Oh yeah.
Very pleasantly interrupted. But I need these stakes, these picks, and these are like irrigation picks. And I use them for all sorts of different things. I use them to secure anything with a vining growth habit that I want to spread, and I can secure those vines to the ground where they will then root. Or in this instance right here, I've got a dahlia down from the wind and from the weight of the plant itself. And so these are my cages that were in my QVC line, and I'm just putting the stakes into the ground now.
The wind's not all bad.
So yeah, the wind's
It felt good just
it did. You got a little reprieve for a minute. Poor Stuart, he really, I hate the heat, but I think he hates it even more.
I'm pretty hot already. So.
Yeah, and you can see these guys need a little bit more support, maybe even a larger staking than this. But when I planted this, this is one of the things I was talking about budget-friendly gardening. And this was a gift. This was gifted to me, this dahlia, and I planted it. I didn't really know what variety it was or whatever, but it was a gardening risk worth taking, and it's absolutely wonderful. So probably what I will do is come out here before it gets too much hotter, because it's still fairly early, and cut these so that I can use them in a bouquet or something, because in short order, any flower that is fresh is going to be pretty much less fresh as the day progresses. As you can see, I know I go on and on and on about Southern Living plants, but it's because I am truly enthusiastic. And just look how beautiful the Sunshine ligustrum and the Orange Rocket look. And it's not even fall. And I really anticipated this as being beautiful along autumn's edge, but they have doubled in size. And I don't know if I can find one or not, Stuart, but if we can, let's try to put a last year's picture here, so it will demonstrate just how much all of this has grown. Now, some of you who say that you don't like the look, you think it's overplanted, the eye has no place to rest, to that I would come back with, that is the nature of a cottage garden. And if you like a cottage garden, then you have to kind of embrace this. The other reason that I like it being so densely planted is it's living mulch. So the wind and the heat is being deterred from whisking away because of all of these plantings. It literally is living mulch, and it also serves to hold the plants in place. All of the zinnias have kind of come out. I'm fighting with a little bit of powdery mildew, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. But I do want to keep deadheading them because they are a prime cut flower, and everything else looks good. This fall, I will be thinning out some of the shrubbery, because one thing that has really done exceptionally well is the butterfly candy, and I probably have a few too many of them, and I will probably relocate some of those or gift them to some friends. But look at the dahlias there in the distance. Here's another dahlia here, and if they're blooming like this now, I fully anticipate that in the fall, as it gets cooler, they will bloom even more exceptionally. So let's take a little break here, and we'll come back. Stuart, I think, looks like he needs to wipe his brow and maybe maybe take a drink, and so do I. As so many of you always point out to me, I need to remember to refill my bird bath, and it's amazing how quickly all of the water in here evaporates. So I'm trying to remember to do that a little bit more consistently now that the temperatures are so hot. The other thing that I want to do is make sure that anything that I have recently planted, like some of this leucanthemum, I planted a couple of tufts there, and I've got a couple over here. I'm going to give them additional watering in addition to the drip irrigation because they're getting established. And that's what it means when people will often say water well or it's drought tolerant when established. But until it's established, you need to make sure that it gets adequate moisture. So I am watering these. They really look pretty good despite the heat, and planting them in the dead of summer. So after I water them in real well, I will come back and I will mulch these. The other thing I'm giving a little bit of supplemental water to are these things that are in full sun, which by next season will be in considerably more shade, because these are putting on as much as a foot to 18 inches to 2 feet of width growth over the course of a growing season. So as I had hoped when I planned this design, pretty soon these in the middle that are getting these white wedding hydrangeas that are getting a little bit too much sun, they will ultimately be in more shade. So anything that looks like it needs a little bit more supplemental watering, I'm trying to address that. Now, I said earlier, some of you asked, well, how can you water if you're on every other day water rationing? Well, we can only, since I have an odd address, I can only do in-ground watering, any kind of automatic sprinkling system, whether it's just one of these fan sprinklers, whether it's drip system, whether it's spray heads. Those I can only use on odd numbered days. But I can hand water anything on any day. And so that is when I try to do my deep watering, is when I water my pots in the morning. And I am definitely making a note to myself that I am putting this at the end of April. In my garden journal, I am making a notation that in 2025, I want to plant more of the annuals that are doing really well. Now, I don't really plant a whole lot of annuals. Most of what I have is in containers just running along here and in the window box. And even those, I a lot of times will overwinter and bring them back out in the spring. So I think it's a testament to the annual selection that it looks like I have more than I have, because they do so well. And in that category of heat lovers, I would include sun patiens, periwinkles, to a certain extent New Guinean patiens, lantana, to a certain extent verbena, but not nearly as much, pentas, maybe some sun coleus, million bells to a certain extent, calibrachoa, but even that doesn't do as well as I would like, and Joseph's coat. Now, one thing I'm struggling with here that I've discussed in the past, and I am still struggling with it now that it's gotten hot again, and that is budworms. So I'm consistently coming in here and spraying for budworms, even though the progression of bloom is definitely slowing down as temperatures hover near the century mark. So I'm going to water these. I only water the boxwood in the big pots. I water those maybe twice a week when it's this hot, once a week or once a month, depending on if we're getting regular rainfall. This one you see has succumbed to some heat while I was in Scotland, and what the fate of this Green Mountain boxwood is, I don't know, because you can see it is browned and there's a lot of dead on it, but it's not really sincerely dead yet. So here is maybe my question of the day. If you were me, would you come back in here, clip out all of the dead, maybe repot it and give it a second chance, or would you relegate it to compost, the big compost pile in the sky, and just get a new specimen for right here? So that's my question of the day. So let's take a break before I finish some watering, and maybe we take a stroll through the backyard. And maybe the toughest annual ever is lantana. All of this in this pot right here and in this pot, I wintered over. I just cut it back, stuck it in another pot. I'm losing some water here. Stuck it in another pot, and then I resurrected it this year in the spring. But look at the size of the New Guinean patiens. They're the sun patiens rather.
White they are.
Yeah. And they've really done well. So another thing that I've been checking every morning, actually this is typically Hub's job, is a couple times a day we try to remember to put cool fresh water in here. And no, this is a hollow bowl and it does not heat up, so the water doesn't get, it doesn't get too warm. Yeah, it doesn't boil for the pooches. But looking up here, even though if you get up there and you walk around in the interior, yes, you can definitely see some flaws. You can see a little bit of powdery mildew, some budworms or whatever. My goal for this time of year is from a distance, if you don't look too closely, is it beautiful? And I may not be very humble in saying this, but I think yes, it is. And certainly all of my neighbors that stop by are so appreciative. And
you worked really hard to be able to say that.
Yeah, I did. I worked pretty hard. And over a prolonged period of time, not just at this garden, but I mean over years. So that's kind of where we are right now. The boxwood basil continues to look good. Some of you showed me your boxwood basil. I so appreciate it. You haven't yet, some of them, I think we're putting them in the community tab. Some of them we may have put on Instagram. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out that beautiful purple dome basil. Can you see right there?
Yeah, around the corner.
Yes, and that is an annual too. And that's a purple ball basil that is a perfect color echo to the orange rocket. And I think it really contrasts exceptionally well with the sunshine ligustrum, however you say it. Now, some of the better boxwood, which I adore so much and is beyond a doubt, and I've tried probably every variety, it is the best performing boxwood I've had in my garden, and not just because it's blight resistant. Fortunately, I haven't had that experience, but because it is so heat and cold tolerant. It really resists sunburn and browning, and it's receptive to clipping. I just love everything about it. But some of the boxwood villages, as I knew would happen, they are just getting a little overpopulated, a little bit, too many plants per square foot. So I have plans for some of those excess boxwood that will be relocated to other areas. And then I really need to point out, look at how beautiful this Penta is and how beautiful the Nepeta looks, because I cut it back hard. It's all fresh blooming. And then this wonderful chartreuse Joseph's coat. As long as I keep things deadheaded and fed to a certain extent, though I'm holding back on that a little bit right now since it's gotten so hot, these will continue to push out new blooms. Now this is the importance of sometimes getting low and crouching down, hunkering down in your garden, because what a beautiful shot that is with that encore azalea, I believe that's carnation, blooming in front of those white wedding hydrangeas. You can capture the little butterflies, the little flicker butterflies, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful image that unless you got down low, you really couldn't capture because of the other things that are distracting you from the image itself and the vignette. So over here, they're deflated now.
Oh, wow.
But I want to show you, look at how much my seedlings of this foxglove have grown. Now when they stand up straight, you'll realize just how big. You can kind of see it over here. Oh, they're here, yes. Yeah. They're doing brilliantly. And I've already had some, like my friend Gail, I promised to share some of my seedlings with her, and I think that'll be fun. Why these pink carnation azaleas are blooming now, I'm not really sure. It's just the weirdness of our weather, but aren't they exquisite? There's a lot more buds on them. The other thing anecdotally that I've noticed is that the pink blooms are beautiful, and when it's really hot, I would say that they're on par with the white in terms of beauty, but in terms of longevity, I think those encore azaleas that are in pink really last longer, because the white ones, as we understand, just like my white britches, they will get brown and get dirty. These topiaries are doing so well here, and I love being able to see them from inside the parlor. And these two I water maybe once a week, and you'll notice that I move from one to another. I'll water it, let it really, really soak in, then water it again. And that way I only have to do this about once a week or once every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on weather conditions. Okay, Stuart, let's leave Lemon Lane. By the way, I am going to plant some miniature daffodils along Lemon Lane this fall. I think it'll be very, very sweet. But let's leave Lemon Lane. Let's check on the pumpkins and then do a quick tour of the back and a few changes I've made back there before we wrap up this pre-sabbatical last Wednesday walkabout. Well, like the rest of the garden and the rest of us gardeners, the pumpkins are starting to show some wear and tear from the heat and the wind, particularly in the foliage. But even as it begins to look distressed, I know that I am at least guaranteed with this garden risk I took to have one gourd and one Jackby little pumpkin. Now, as you move up the tutor with my little clips, you can see that I might have some more fruit that will begin to mature and continue to grow over time. Oh, look, there's a little baby right there, a little baby pumpkin right there. because there's still plenty of growing season left. And if temperatures really moderate just a little bit, I think these will improve. But I don't mind the way they look. I do periodically clip off some of the foliage that looks really, really bad, primarily to expose the cute little pumpkins. But the other thing that I'm watching for is I begin to love, as autumn approaches, I begin to love the gnarliness and the curlicues of the vine itself as it dries, because I will use some of that dried vining, branching, some of the strains of this. I will use that in some of my decor, because there's something that's just really iconic, as Leah would say, about the tendrils and the branching and really even the dried foliage of a pumpkin vine. It really enhances the beauty of a mature orange or white pumpkin. So I'll just continue to keep an eye on this, but I definitely wanted to give you guys one last look at it before I go on sabbatical. I will, of course, probably be posting some updates on its evolution and its progress on Instagram and in the community tab. And for now, at least, as I walk this way, the moon dance hydrangeas continue to look good, and some are starting to get crispy, but most are drying in kind of that beautiful characteristic lime green way. My rose continues over here to grow up the wire work, and I imagine it will continue to scale that wall. I'll be meeting with someone about the awnings in the next couple of weeks. These pink encores are also blooming and really look lovely. Someone commented, well, I'll have to do pruning. I'll have to cut back the ajuga and cut back the arborvitae and things that are encroaching on the path. And yes, I will. And I'm a gardener and I like doing that kind of stuff. And that's okay, because if you find something that does well in Oklahoma, as one of my garden mentors once said, then plant 100 of them, because if it works, it'll work brilliantly. And something that has also really, really worked well is this Chinese viburnum. I am going to be pruning this and raising its canopy and thinning it out. It's important for me to say that typically things that bloom on spring wood or bloom in spring, you prune them immediately after bloom, because otherwise you will cut off any of the bloom for next year. But I don't care if I remove and expose all of the branching at the bottom, because I don't really want it to bloom or even put out more foliage. I want the show to be all in the top third of the plant itself. So I don't care if I'm removing blooms on the bottom, and it will clean this up. It'll really make it look less congested, a little less weedy, and I will of course show you the before and after that after I get finished. So let's take a break right here and we'll scoot to the back, take a quick look, and then I'm going to say goodbye for this last Wednesday walkabout before my sabbatical. Well, it's really hard for me to believe that just a year ago, this brick patio, this brick rug wasn't even here. The wonderful artisans from Cityscape, Sergio and Javier, they put this in, they executed the whole thing, and I just love, love, love the way it looks. I love the way some of the plants like this red verbena are starting to spill out over that metal edging, which I really don't like the appearance of, spilling out, softening the edges. What I've been concentrating on in the past several days is just styling my terraces, my plant terraces, in the way I want them to be, and working and pruning on all of my myrtle topiary in anticipation of topiary month in August. So I'll really be working on them then. But right now you can see that I mixed up some things over here. I relocated some topiaries. I like the way it looks. I recognized that in this area right here, you can see that I relocated and cut back some of the little coconut buddleias, and I did that, and they're coming out just fine. It was a risk worth taking, but I also noticed when I look at pictures, which is another reason to take lots of images, that I really need a grounding evergreen in this corner right here, and I think I just want another large boxwood like the two of those that you see on the opposite side. So that will be a fall project. Not going to be working on it right now when it's too hot. I'm also waiting for some of the end of season sales where I might be able to find, say at TLC or Precure, I might be able to find a larger size boxwood at a better price point. Now someone asked me, how can I, they were from Texas, how can I get my geraniums to continue to bloom in this heat and in the drought? And I would say that some of them I can get to spit out a few blooms, but I consider their blooms to be more late spring, early summer, and early fall bloomers rather than summertime. And in the meantime, you can see here that these have blooms, but it's because I cheated. So this is an example I showed you before where I just got some fake red blooms.
I would never have known.
And I just stuck them into the plant. You can see there's a real bud right there.
Trick, but...
Yeah, there's a real bud. Here's a real flower. Here is a fake one. Here's a fake one. But from a distance, you can't tell. And is that a little bit cheesy / resourceful? Yes, it is. But again, from a distance, it looks beautiful. I can't tell the difference. Even when I get on top of them, it's hard for me to tell that this one is real and this one is fake. So for me, it's definitely worth the effort. So that's what I'm working on right now, is styling these, repotting some things like I did with these angel wing begonias, taking some cuttings, and I'm really just analyzing how I want. I said earlier that it was finished, but of course something's never finished and I don't want it to be because I'm a gardener and yeah, that's the point. So I've got some other things that need to be done, but these are all, I still considered it finished. These are just, the devil is in the details, and while I'm working out here in the cool of the morning or relative cool of the morning, I can really appreciate things like the big furry leaves of this salvia and the deep red blooms of the verbena and the pollinators that come over and hover on this salvia. So that's just a little bit of a tour of the backyard. I wish you guys could visit with me here and share a cold beverage back here on the brick patio. But until we meet again, thank you guys so much. I'll be really energized and looking forward to fall. By the way, I want to thank you. So many people have sent me now different Instagram posts and messages and things of other people that are also taking sabbaticals. This morning, one of them said Maria Shriver was taking a sabbatical, and obviously Network TV used to always take a sabbatical this time of year. So I love you guys. I will be back better than ever, and until we meet again, love you guys.
Well, happy final Wednesday walkabout before sabbatical. Linda is in the garden. She had a fan follower stop by, so she is showing them around. And Stuart and I snuck inside to make her a little treat to cheers all of her hard work this summer as we head into a little break, a well-deserved break on her part. So we shared this in our newsletter earlier this week. We're making a strawberry basil smash. We're making it with tequila, but Stuart will drink his as a mocktail, so you can do that as well. We have basil fresh from the garden, some fresh strawberries.
It takes next to the little basil too.
Yeah, this tiny basil, agave nectar, some kind of carbonated water.
How many options of that are there nowadays?
There's so many. I actually was really confused which one to get. And we made this just a minute ago. We'll put some B-roll of that. This is the strawberries, the basil, the agave nectar in this little mixture. We have Linda's new ice maker over here at the bar, which I was just excited to play with. And these beautiful glasses.
Those were so cool the other day, yeah.
Yeah, these are mine. I brought them
Oh, I didn't
over
know
for
that.
her
Oh, they look so neat.
for a little party she had. So we'll use those this morning. Our favorite sticks, which were from Rat Hill Co. We found them at her house and now we're obsessed. So shout out to her. And yeah, let's put these together. I am not at all a bartender, so we'll just give it a go. But we'll start with...
Wish they could smell this.
Oh, this also has lime juice in it. I know, I wish you could smell it too. It's so good. Strawberries, basil, lime juice. We mixed it in the Ninja blender, or whatever her little blender
I think
is.
it's a good.
Yeah, so we're just gonna pour some of this in here.
Oh, that's pretty looking.
And then we're also gonna top this off with the alcohol and carbonated water, or just carbonated water. Okay, we will link, so good. We will link the recipe below. Stuart's knees are cracking if you can't hear that. Linda's gonna walk in and see all this and be like, what?
We just gotta get it done quick and sneaky.
I know, I'm trying. I'm not even a bartender.
You're doing
Okay. And then we'll top it off with this carbonated water. And then we'll mix it together a little bit.
Fancy.
Does it look pretty?
It does.
The basil smells so good.
Yes, like again, it would enhance the video so much.
If you could smell,
could just
look
do
at
a little-
Linda's little sticks. I'm gonna use this to stir.
Everything she has over here.
I
is
forget
so
where
neat.
she got these. They're not online.
The matches over here, like all the matches in there, are really cool.
Someone that is a bartender is probably watching this like, wow, yeah. But also, I think it's working.
It is. Just mix a little over here too. You can see
Thank
it.
you,
There you go.
thank you.
Perfect.
It takes the team. Okay. And there we go. That was fun. Yeah, it's kind of pretty. Okay. Oh. Let's go cheers our fearless leader.
Trumpets or something, right?
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Also, I did the laugh because I wasn't listening again. Where'd she go? Now we have to find her in the garden somewhere.
Everybody, on live, in the safety spotter.
Welcome to our half of our life, which is hide and seek in the garden.
You're amazed how easy it is to lose something
Well, there she is.
What? What is this?
We made a special treat.
What?
For our last Wednesday walkabout to celebrate.
Oh,
This is a strawberry basil smash, which just means it was blended. Cheers.
that is so sweet. I love you.
I love
guys.
you. We love
Oh
you.
my gosh, this is a
I'm spilling.
Oh
We
my
haven't even
goodness.
drank the
Oh my gosh,
tequila
oh my
yet.
Okay, this is a complete surprise. We have, I'm going to tear up a little bit. We have talked about this for a long time, my taking a sabbatical and all the things we wanted to do and to accomplish and to rest and maybe now get smashed.
Yeah.
Get smashed. Okay, so can we toast?
Cheers. A toast to
And
you.
this is morning drinking. This
Yeah.
is day drinking.
Yeah,
Such a
well,
surprise.
we wanted to try this recipe. But yeah, I think all the followers at home will echo again in the comments that this is a well-deserved
Yes.
little break. So cheers to you and cheers to all the followers.
That is so sweet and
Is
it's
it
not
good?
sweet, it's delicious. Okay, did you sneak out when I wasn't looking and got basil
We
from
got
the
some
garden?
more basil, we got some strawberries, and used that blender. And the little ice maker.
Oh, and you used some of my little shell things.
Yeah, we shouted out Rat Hill Co. for introducing us to these.
Okay, and
that is literally fresh basil from the garden.
and
I
the
love it.
presentation is so.
Thank you. You taught me everything I know.
Yes, it's all about the presentation.
Yeah.
Well, Cheers to you
Cheers.
guys. Stuart, I'm sorry you can't
it's
be
quite all right.
cheering
I gotta
with us
shoot.
too.
We'll
but
get him
he
one.
will not be overlooked. He will get
Absolutely.
one
Yes,
too.
he will.
And cheers to you guys for being such good friends out there. I really appreciate it. And
Let's
so
take
like
a break.
I say, let's take a break, but we'll be back better than ever.
True.
So here's
Cheers.
to you. Well, here's a little behind the scenes kind of thing. Photographers use this expression frequently when they're checking sound, and they'll ask whoever is going to be on camera what they had for breakfast. And so I was happy to tell Stuart that this morning I'm having tequila and strawberries and what else? And basil
Yeah.
for breakfast.
For breakfast.
Yeah, and I highly recommend it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a smoothie.
It's like,
basically.
yeah, it's
I
kinda-
made it in the blender.
It's kind of like a smoothie. Okay, so I haven't done an outfit of the day for a while, and I thought I would do one mostly because Leah looks so cute today. But I'll go first. Okay, so my hat I got at Dillard's years ago, but we'll try to put a link to one that's similar. It definitely protects our delicate complexions. Okay, these sunglasses and the ones Leah have on, we wanted to we both have multiple pairs of these, but I wanted to show you because I think these are on deep discount now.
Yeah, I think these might be too.
Yeah, I think they are. So we definitely, want to
Link it.
link these. Thank you. I'm already being affected by the tequila. Let's see, from top to bottom, my earrings. These are just these are kind of fun and fluffy, and I got these online. My top I got thrifted. I think it's just like Gap or something. I got that thrifted. Okay, I love these breeches. Mostly because they're just so cool. They're linen, they're breezy, even with a little bit of spilt strawberry mash drink on them. But I also like them because they belong to my son Johnny. And he left them, and so periodically we kind of wear the same size, I think. And anyhow, so I borrowed these from him, and my Tivos. These are absolutely my favorite sandals of the summer. So I've actually got a couple of favorite sandals of the summer. No pedicure, but sandals. And these are great because, again, I barely buy any shoes anymore that I can't walk as far as downtown in without them being comfortable. And then you guys, I know you'll ask me about my watch band. So that's my watch band.
Turn your head to the side. We couldn't really
Okay,
see
yeah,
it.
let's.
There we go.
We'll show you that.
The famous watch band.
The famous watch band. Okay, that's my outfit du jour. Take it away, Leah.
Okay, my sunglasses are from online.
Yeah.
And I just bought another pair because I love them so much, and these are kind of getting a little overused. So I got some that are tighter. These got stretched out at the lake this summer. So.
Okay.
My shirt is from Levi's, and I'll see if we can find it online. I get a lot of people ask where the shirt
Levi
is from.
Strauss, as in the jeans company.
Yeah,
Really?
Levi's, yeah.
Cute.
Which I think they have it on their store still. I got it years ago, but I love it.
Okay.
My belt I thrifted in Scottsdale at a thrift store.
Look at that belt buckle.
Yeah, that's
And I love
incredible.
it, yeah.
Love it.
My skirt is I got it online. It's 100% cotton, so it's perfect for the Oklahoma summers. Oh, also these little blue tassels I pulled out of a jewelry bag. They were the drawstrings on a jewelry bag.
Cute.
And I didn't have any little hair ties, so I just tied it with those. And then my shoes are from Linda's closet. I actually forced her to buy these because I wanted them, but also they would look cute on her. So now we are sharing them.
Yes, it's fun.
And we will link these.
Yeah, it's fun that we kind of sort of wear the same size. We wear the same size in shoes, we wear the same size in sunglasses.
Yeah.
And I've got much broader shoulders, you're much narrower.
Yeah, but we can make things
But
work.
we make things work. So I don't know, there you go. There is your outfit du jour before the sabbatical.